Okay, so my last couple videos were talking about some of the genuine negatives for somebody being diagnosed with ADHD. There is no doubt there is a huge list of things that are challenges for us. However, it is not just a one sided issue. There are absolutely benefits to being diagnosed with ADHD. The key is identifying them and then leveraging those benefits. If you don't ever view ADHD as anything but a liability, then that's what it will be for you. What I want to talk about is finding your superpower. There are definitely a select list of things that are often strengths of somebody who has ADHD. For example, the ability to hyperfocus. Hyperfocus means what it sounds like, the ability to insanely focus in on one task to the exclusion of the rest of the universe, especially in a pressure situation. Those of you who procrastinate until the very last possible moment to try to complete something and somehow just manage to pull that thing out, that was probably because you were hyper-focusing. You were able to give semi-superhuman concentration to that one task because you had backed yourself into a corner with procrastination and there was no other choice. And many people who do not have ADHD in that situation will fold. They will look at the problem and go, oh, this is insurmountable. I can't do this. Happily, our lack of accurate time assessment and our inability to truly assess the magnitude of an issue works in our favor in these situations because you do something that you shouldn't be able to be done, yet you don't know that. And so therefore you do. You didn't know it was impossible, and therefore it must be possible, and you do it. Um, that's a great skill, especially if you have a career where deadlines are forced upon you, especially deadlines with very, very little notification. Um, you are probably that person who can be counted on to somehow miraculously make it work. So that is one possible thing that you may be good at. Another is abstraction, meaning the ability to think outside the box, basically. We are not linear thinkers typically. Our minds flit all around from one topic to another. And in doing that, there are connections that can be made that most people won't see. They can find parallels between the situation right now and something that happened at some other time. And those parallels give them insights that somebody who's just thinking, oh, well, I have this problem and there's this way I have to think about it, and that's all there is, and there's only one solution. And so typically you get a lot more creativity out of somebody's mind if they have ADHD. This is the one that, for me, in my career as an educator, was by far the most valuable. I'm going to do a whole video on that separately. But suffice it to say that if I didn't have this ability, I would have been horribly boring and not very effective as a teacher. Um, and another thing that people who have ADHD are particularly good at is being absolutely genuinely enthusiastic about the things that we undertake. I don't mean enthusiastic about the things forced on us, but when we have an idea that is our own, we attack it with a lot more vigor than a lot of other people do. And that can translate into an intense belief that you can do it. I'm going to also make an entire video on balancing a unwavering belief in yourself and your capabilities with a dose of reality. Like I said, I'll have a separate video on that as well. So how are you supposed to find what you're good at? And there's more other characteristics. But how are you supposed to find them? There's various different online um, aptitude kind of things. I will have a link to one very simple one down in the comments. It's the via character strength assessment, and it has you answer a bunch of questions that seem repetitive and gee, they just asked me that. But as you go through and answer it, you will find that there are things that you are particularly good at or that come particularly naturally to you. And so once you figure that out, the key is find a way to leverage that in your life. Yes, if you can hyperfocus really, really well, then last minute deadlines aren't really a thing to you. Is that license to never ever prior plan? No, that's not going to be great. You always need enough time. Yes, can somebody who hyperfocuses pull out something in an impossibly short period of time? Yes. Can you pull out your best work? Perhaps not. But the key is once you identify those skills, don't run away from them. Find ways that those skills can be your superpower, can be the thing that separates you from someone who does not have ADHD and cannot hyperfocus, is not very flexible in their thinking, is not very enthusiastic and on board with pursuing their dreams. So, like I said, I'm going to have separate videos coming on each of these different topics, ways that you can leverage them. But that's what my challenge is to you. Find what you are particularly good at and make that a central part of the way you interact with the world. All right? So, that's my suggestion for today. Have a good one.